conversations don't fall apart because people don't care. They fall apart because someone rushes in too fast, because someone tries to help before they understand what's actually needed, because one person is trying to move things forward and the other is just trying to be heard. Here's a question that quietly changes all of that. Are you looking for comfort or solutions? Not as a strategy or a script, as a way of being with people. And once you start asking it, you'll notice something surprising. People answer honestly, and the direction unfolds. Welcome back to the Motivated Savages podcast, where we live bold, lead fearless, and ignite our path forward. I'm Jody Savage, and today we're going to explore how asking what someone needs creates clarity, trust, and movement instead of tension. And it started with a question my husband learned somewhere else and chose to bring home. It wasn't something he invented or something he read online. It was something he learned. He heard it in a moment that mattered, and instead of leaving it behind, he brought it back to us. That part matters, because learning something is one thing, but choosing to practice it where it matters most, that's another. He started asking me, are you looking for comfort or solutions? Not every time, not perfectly, just often enough that I noticed something shift. At first, it caught me off guard. Because most of us are used to one of two responses when we're frustrated. Someone jumps in with advice, or someone minimizes it and says, it'll be fine. But this was different. He wasn't trying to keep things moving. He wasn't trying to fix it quickly, and he wasn't trying to steer the moment. He was asking before responding. And that slowed everything down in the best way. Sometimes I wanted comfort. I wanted someone to sit with me in it. And other times, I wanted solutions. I wanted help thinking clearly. And other times, I didn't know yet. But being asked changed the tone immediately. I didn't feel like I had to explain myself before speaking, or that I had to soften what I was feeling, or I had to rush towards clarity. I could just be where I was. That alone changes a relationship. Here's what I noticed. When I was asked what I needed, I stopped managing the moment. I stopped choosing my words carefully so they'd land well. I stopped trying to sound reasonable before I felt understood. And that created honesty. Not dramatic honesty or emotional dumping, just real, grounded truth. And once the truth was out in the open, the next step didn't feel forced. Direction didn't come from advice, it came from clarity. And clarity came from being asked. Now, here's something I didn't understand at first. It wasn't that people always wanted one or the other. It was that they needed them in a certain order. Timing changes everything. Comfort offered too late feels dismissive. Solutions offered too early feel invasive. We've all felt that moment. You're still in it and someone jumps ahead. They're already solving and reframing, already pointing forward. They mean well, but now you feel rushed or unseen, or like you're somehow behind for not being ready yet. And the opposite is true. There are moments when comfort has done its job, when you've been heard and you understand what you're feeling. And staying there starts to feel heavy instead of supportive. That's when solutions aren't pressure, they're relief. And that's why this question matters. It doesn't just ask what someone needs, it asks when. And that includes us. When I ask myself this question honestly, timing is usually the real answer I'm avoiding. Am I pushing myself forward before I've actually processed what's happening? Or am I staying comfortable when I already know it's time to move? Comfort and solutions aren't opposites, they're partners. But only when they arrive in the right order. Over time, I started sharing this question with other people. Not as a rule or as guidance, just as something that had helped me. Friends who were venting and coworkers who were overwhelmed or people who felt stuck. And almost every time, something simple happened. They paused. And then they answered honestly. And once they did, the conversation changed. People answered honestly, and the direction unfolded. Sometimes they said, I just need comfort. And once that was named, the pressure disappeared. Other times they said, I actually want solutions. And suddenly, advice was welcome instead of intrusive. Then there were the times that they said, I don't know yet. And that's honest too. The answer didn't stall things out. It gave them space to figure it out. Now here's the quiet truth. Most people don't resist help. They resist being rushed. They resist being talked out of their experience. They resist being corrected before they feel understood. This question doesn't lower standards. It doesn't delay progress. It creates alignment. It makes sure the response matches the moment. Now this week, something happened that really landed. I was at work and I was frustrated. And a coworker looked at me and asked, do you need comfort or solutions? I actually paused because suddenly I wasn't just sharing a helpful question anymore. I was inside it. Someone had learned it and practiced it, and now it had come back to me. That's when I realized this isn't a tool. It's a language. It's how trust moves through people. Someone learns something that works, they practice it where it matters, and if it's real, it spreads. There's another reason this question works so well, especially at work and in leadership. It quietly changes the power dynamic. When someone asks what you need, instead of telling you what to do, control leaves the room. Hierarchy softens. Defensiveness drops. People stop guarding themselves. What's left is honesty. This matters in teams and in families and in leadership roles. Advice given from the top down often sounds like direction, even when it's meant to help. But this question gives ownership back. It says, you know yourself. I'm here to support, not override. That's why this question builds trust so quickly. It doesn't weaken leadership. It strengthens it. Strong leaders don't rush to steer every moment. They create the conditions where clarity can emerge. And this works no matter where you sit. If you lead, it signals safety. If you don't, it still shifts the tone. Because curiosity replaces assumption. And that's real influence. This question only works because of give and take. One person offers space instead of control. The other offers honesty instead of managing the moment. No one's keeping score or trying to win the conversation. They're sharing responsibility for how the moment feels. That's leadership. Not authority, not answers, responsiveness. Now let's make this usable right now. Here's when to ask the question. When someone's venting, someone feels overwhelmed or seems overwhelmed, when emotions feel close to the surface, when you notice yourself wanting to jump in quickly. You don't ask it dramatically. You ask it simply. Do you want comfort or solutions? And then, this part matters, you honor the answer. If they say comfort, you don't sneak advice in. If they say solutions, you don't withhold clarity. You meet them where they are. That's how trust builds. Now here's the deeper layer. You can ask this question of yourself. When you're overwhelmed or you're frustrated with your pace, when you feel behind. So often we push ourselves forward without checking in, or we stay stuck when what we actually need is direction. So ask yourself, do I need comfort right now, or do I need solutions? Sometimes the answer is comfort, and that doesn't make you weak. Sometimes the answer is solutions, and that doesn't make you cold. Wisdom is knowing which one is needed and when. If no one has asked you this lately, let me ask you now. Are you looking for comfort or solutions? You don't have to answer it out loud. Just be honest. And with that, let's move to the Savage Challenge for this week. Ask the question once a day. With someone else or with yourself. Not to fix anything or to control the outcome. Just to understand before responding. Notice what changes. Notice how conversations soften. How clarity comes faster. And how much less energy is wasted trying to manage moments that don't need managing. People answer honestly, and the direction unfolds. Not everything needs to be solved immediately. Some things just need to be understood first. And when honesty is allowed, direction doesn't have to be forced. It unfolds quietly in its own time. I'm Jody Savage, and this is the Motivated Savages podcast. Live bold, ignite your path. That's the Savage way. If this message resonated, share it with someone who needs a different way into a hard conversation. And if you want to carry this message with you, check out our merch line at motivatedsavages.com. We've designed gear to remind you to live bold every day. Together, we're building the Savage community, a movement of people choosing purpose, growth, and bold living.